Hello everybody, welcome back to Tempest Books. I'm Rebecca and today we are doing our December 2023 wrap-up. Okay, so I read two ebooks this month. The first one was Hive by Michael Cole. It was the first in the Gore Sector series, so the giant organism reconnaissance and extermination. And it was an excellent book. I loved it. It was like this perfect bite-sized book. It was really short. It was only about 140 pages. And yes, it was excellent. It had great monsters with a unique premise as to how we got them. There was really interesting character interaction, like they were all well fleshed out, they were well built. The only issue I had with this book was, unfortunately, it was a bit predictable in the ending. By the time you get about 2/3 the way in, you knew how it was going to end. It was quite easy to see. But it was still a really solid start to the series. Okay, the second ebook I read this month, unfortunately, does not get such a high ranking. This one was maybe a 2-star read. So Cavern of the Damned, which is the first in the Grant Coleman series by Russell James. Now, this kept its 2 stars because there was nothing technically wrong with the book. It was an interesting premise and the characters were, fairly accurate to how he seemed to be building them. The few monsters you saw were interesting and, kind of kept to the rules of biology as you would need them to be. It also factored in, a bit of ancient human history, things like that. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't very good either. Unfortunately, unlike the other one, this one needed to be longer. This story needed more space to build its characters and it needed more space to flesh out the environment they were in. The premise of the book is that they get trapped in a cavern that has been cut off for millennia, and to get out they need to go through because of the cave-in, they're stuck, they've got to get out the other end. Now, it's so short that I cannot understand how it's meant to work. If this is an environment that's been cut off for millennia, this tiny environment, basically I think it should be empty. There shouldn't be anything in there. So the monsters weren't very believable for me. The ending wasn't very believable either. The way the book set out the cavern they went through, what they went through at the end to get out should have killed them. And so unfortunately, this book couldn't work for me. So 2 stars. I probably won't continue it. I don't know if I will do a separate review for it on the channel yet. I don't know yet whether I want my channel to really look at those books that I didn't enjoy in depth. I don't know if I want to do the negative sort of reviews yet. It's something I'm still considering. It may be something I do in the future, but I'm just not sure yet. So we'll save our 2 5-stars for last because they were awesome. So the 4-star book I read this month was Ancestor by Scott Siegler. I did a review on this one. It's on my channel. I did like this book. It was good. It had good believable characters. We followed a couple of perspectives that fleshed it out well. The monsters were interesting and we were a part of building the monsters in this book. Like a good first half of the book, if not more, was the process of making the monsters. So that was interesting. But on the other hand, it was also a bit of a drag. So we were well and truly past halfway before we even got our monsters. So this was very much a slow burn monster book, which is kind of weird. It was a little bit much for me. It was hard to keep track of. It was hard to maintain my interest in some of it because it just seemed to drag on. When we finally got the monsters, the story around them kind of made up for it. But it was still a bit of a struggle. I couldn't get more than 4 stars for this one. But it was still an excellent book. I still loved the, oh my God, hardcore science. There was some Google this stuff science in this thing. So I did, if it sounds interesting to you, I did a review on it in full on my channel. Another monster book for the month was Invasive Species by Stephen Streeter. Now this one got 3 stars. It was a reasonably good book. It would make an amazing movie. Someone needs to make a movie of this book. It would be awesome. I did do a review on it. That'll actually come out in a few days. So this book was based in Australia. It had mainly to do with snakes. There was a huge snake on the cover. So, beware there if you don't like snakes. It was a cool mythological take. It was a nice slice of life for, Australian small towns. The only issue I had with this book that ended up taking away a decent amount of the enjoyment for me was the characters. So the characters you see the story through, they drove me a little bit nuts. I couldn't mesh with them. The male drove me bad shit to bedlam because he couldn't for the life of him make a decision. He prevaricated on everything. And the female was unfortunately just a bit manipulative, a bit cold at times. She'd swing a lot, and that drove me nuts as well. So look, the premise of the book was excellent. It would, like I said, make an amazing movie when you're actually just watching the characters' actions rather than having to be in their head. So look, I would recommend it. I probably won't read it again. I will just, have read it. I'm glad I did read it, and it was 3 stars, but it was a struggle with the characters for me for that one. So we have our 2 5-star reads for this month, which was so excellent. First, we have Fragment by Warren Fay. This was an astounding book. I loved it from start to finish. It is well and truly now in my top 5 monster books. This was about an island cut off from main evolution. It evolved on its own. It has done for millions of years, and everything is going to eat you. And it's going to eat everything else, and it's going to get eaten by everything. And so, look, the monsters were unique. The premise was unique. The characters interacted so well. I didn't predict the ending. I certainly didn't predict the twist that came like more than 3/4 into the book. And there was a little bit of romance. It had everything in it that I love in a monster book. I found out that it has a sequel. I immediately ordered the sequel, and it came very quickly. I'm reading it now. And yeah, it was excellent. I loved it from start to finish. This is another one I have a review of up on my channel for if you'd like to see it. The 6th and final book I finished this month was Sandman Slim by Richard Kadri. So this is a new series to me, and I will be reading the rest. But this was a 5-star book for me. I loved it from, again, start to finish. So our main character, James Stark, is sent to hell by his supposed friends, crawls his way out 11 years later because he has some revenge to wreak. This was amazingly bloody-minded. The sheer determination, the unapologetic nature of him getting to exactly where he needs to be to do exactly what he needs to do was excellent. I loved the lack of angst. I loved how determined he was. The magic system, the way he put across that kind of, other society that lives within our own, the magical creatures, the battle between heaven and hell, and his poor old role stuck in the middle of it when he's got stuff to do, man. It was excellent, and I loved it from start to finish. And if this is the way the rest of the series is going to be, it's going to have a shelf of its own on my bookcases. I adored it. It was excellent. There is no way, long or short, that I found anything that sucked in this book. Excellent. Alright, so that's it. That's the 6 books I read in December. I didn't get as many read as I'd hoped, but then again, Christmas. Let me know what you guys think of any of these books. Have you read them? Do you plan to? And I guess that's it. I'll see you again next time. Bye, guys.